right, family, we are back with another one. If you're new, welcome. It's Earth Goddess TV. Basically, on this channel, we talk about spirituality and basic astrology. And if you're already part of the Earth Goddess gang, you already know what time it is. You already been with me long enough. So, happy Leo season, first of all, to all my Leos out there. Y'all turn up. Just make sure y'all don't get in trouble. And without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into today's topic. So, I wanted to talk about synastry charts and basically important planets to be mindful of if you're looking to get a synastry reading. So when you so you'll kind of know what to look out for. I think synastry is a wonderful thing. Basically, what synastry is in astrology is basically it's like a relationship chart. Many people are aware of them. Many people give them all the time. And basically, the relationship chart just consists of two charts that are compared using the angles, planets, and positions of the zodiac at the time of birth for each person. So it's basically comparing both of y'all energies and how they work together or how they don't work together. So when you're talking about your relationship, you have to think about the foundations of a relationship. What makes a relationship successful? What makes the relationship unsuccessful? This is where the planets come into play. Now, some people may disagree with this list. This is just my personal list of planets that I feel is important and planets that I will look at if I was doing a synastry reading. But of course, you're free to look at whatever planets you feel are important. The ones that I want to go through is Venus, Mars, Saturn, the Moon, Mercury, and the Vertex. So, in relationships, especially romantic relationships, your emotional intelligence, your love language, how you go about love, whether or not you can be committed, plays a huge role in the type of relationships you attract and you engage in. So just keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and jump into our first, which is the moon. Our moon is our emotional space, our emotional needs, our unconscious habits, our feelings, the mother, your innate responses to these things. So this is hella important. When you have a relationship and say the emotional aspect is not there, it could be a very difficult relationship to try to upkeep or work through. You want this moon, your moon's aspects to be positive simply because, the innate part of you and how you respond unconsciously to your feelings or things that hurt you or thought processes. It's easier when you're around someone who somewhat gets you and not turned off by your emotional your emotions and how you handle those things, and they have more of a better understanding of you. And usually when you're in a relationship with people like this who maybe not have the same emotional language as you or can't really understand how you deal with things emotionally, it can cause great tension. It can cause deep hurt because you feel like at the end of the day this is the person that's supposed to love you and understand you if no one else does, and they don't. So you want to make sure those moon aspects are positively aspecting each other within these charts simply because of that. And with great communication, and just not just great communication, but healthy emotions and being able to display those emotions in a healthy manner is important because it opens up lines for better communication, better emotional growth, so you have a better understanding of his emotional temperament or her emotional temperament, what makes this person triggered, what makes her triggered. And you can kind of work with each other better when you have a better understanding, or before it gets to that point to where you're in a relationship, right off top of this person doesn't speak your emotional language, that this is not the person or the relationship for you. Now, I will be periodically looking up and down because I have a lot of notes and I wanted to get through a lot of these planets and get through what I wanted to say through each one. So my next planet I want to hop into is the Venus. I believe I just did a video on Venus and Leo. Now, Venus is our love planet. This is our love language. This is your pleasure, your value, how you like to love. So, my thing is when your love language is not on point, it can lead for all types of shit, fans, and disasters. When, to me, and this also plays a part in how you like to attract someone. And if, say, that is off, you run into the chance of sending out mixed signals, there being periods of awkwardness, confusion, no attraction, no romance. Why? Simply because your love languages are different. Example, you have a Venus and Taurus person, you have a Venus and, say, Aquarius person. Two opposite energies already. Even though I'm going to point out the commonalities, just which they are both fixed energies, but how they're fixed in different ways. So although these energies can work together, if these people can come to a common ground with how their love languages are different and understand that they can come together and possibly work these out. But more than likely, depending on the people in the relationship, it depends on how much work they're willing to put in. But the Venus and Taurus person, their love language is privacy, vacations, luxury, nice food, nice gifts, massages. That's all Venus and Taurus. Now, Venus and Aquarius, I hate to say it, but it is a little bit detached here. Not simply because it doesn't love, or like love. It's an independent energy and it's freedom, and it likes that even within its love. So, the Venus and Aquarius partner, they would have to then come together and say, okay, look, this is how I like to be loved. This is how I display my love. This is how I like to be loved. This is how I display my love. And if you all can come to a common ground on how you can come together and commonalities to make each other happy, then it can work. But more than likely, you want these two, you want your Venuses to be positively aspected, because that's just basically how you love and how you want to be loved. And if that's messed up, you will always be in a relationship where there's uneven give and take. There may be no true attraction there, because how you all like to attract each other or the things that attract you are different. So there may not be any real attraction here, and there's always mixed signals because one person's on another line of thinking and you're on another line of thinking. So that actually leads me into my next planet, which is Mercury. Now, to me, aside from everything else here, communication is hella important, not just in your romantic relationships, but all relationships. Mercury is our communication planet. Not only just our communication, but our communication with ourselves internally and within our environment, the things that are close to us. So, the Mercury Synastries is very important because communication is the number one thing. It's the number one key factors in any relationship, and if the communication is off, to me, in my opinion, you don't have a relationship. What's a communication? What's a relationship without communication? Proper communication, communication that gets things done, communication that solves things. Not just communicating for the sake of communicating, then going back to what's comfortable for you, or that person going back to what's comfortable for them. We're communicating to come to a common ground. So, this can be very problematic in a relationship, because how you communicate and your style of communicating may not be your partner's way or style of communicating. And my thing is, this can be very volatile, because say you have a person who's very opinionated, very outspoken, and have no problem with expressing themselves in any manner, and say they're with a person who is a little bit timid or a little bit hesitant or a little bit reluctant to express themselves in relationships, that's definitely a one-sided relationship, because the person who is not expressing themselves will always feel like they can't express themselves, or they don't feel comfortable expressing themselves, so therefore they repress or hold things in from the partner who is overly opinionated and overly expressive, and would also lead that person to become frustrated because they feel like, why is this person not communicating with me? And that happens when you look at charts and the communication planets are not in sync. and it causes a lot of tension, a lot of unwanted tension in a relationship. You know, just just unnecessary madness because you have two different ways of communicating. So that is also another planet to look at as well. The next planet that I want to jump into is our Mars planet, which is our action, our sex, our war, our passion, our pure raw energy. Basically, our action planet, how we like to have sex, how we like to go in that raw energy when we're getting love. It's more of the kind of like the how you like to have sex, what turns you on, stuff like that. That pure raw energy. Mars is important too because this is your action planet. And my thing is, if there is no passion and there is no chemistry within, say, your sex life, that's like it's like cooking chicken with no season. It's just bland. It's just boring. Who the hell eats chicken with no season? Nobody that I know of, or not me. So you want to make sure that y'all action planets are in congruent and are together within the synastry chart because that's basically what turns y'all on. How y'all like to do it. Basically your passion. What are you passionate about? How you put yourself out there and attract things and get things. Not how you put yourself out there and go and get things. And my thing is, this needs to be congruent and work well within both synastry charts because a lot of the time when you have opposing energies, like say you may have a person who has a Mars in Aries who again acts before thinking, then you have a Mars in Virgo. Disaster. Virgo, the Mars and Virgo person, they're very deliberate and careful in their approach. So you have two different energies here. There's definitely going to be conflict, tension, and opposition on how they like to have sex or what turns them on or how they go about getting things. And my thing is a relationship that's where the sex is horrible and there's like no chemistry, there's no passion. It won't last long. This is how you get yourself into situations to where either you get cheated on or you feel like you may want to step out on your partner because y'all sex life is fucked up. And it's not saying that your whole relationship should be based on your sex life because as I'm going through these planets, it's obvious that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is these particular planets, it makes things work easier and flow better in a relationship when these planets work well together and they don't have a lot of tension and oppositions. So the next one I want to get into is our Saturn. And our Saturn is basically our disciplinary, our restrictor, our moral obligations, our authority. So to me, this is important as well because Saturn is basically your moral compass. What's important to you, what you will obligate yourself to, what you would put forth the discipline and energy and hard work to. And if you have a person who maybe doesn't have the best track record with relationships, so naturally this person may not take relationships seriously, and you may get in a relationship with a person who takes relationships very seriously, and this could become a conflict because say you have a person who has a Saturn in Pisces, you have a person who has a Saturn in Virgo. Now again, Virgo, they really don't rely too much on intuition to solve issues like say a Saturn and Pisces person would. But this is conflicting because the Saturn and Pisces person may rely too much on the intuition and the Neptunian realm to solve issues, and therefore it manifests in them never solving those issues. Then you have the Virgo person who uses very little intuition and is too practical in solving issues and not just allowing themselves to sit with their intuition to also get inspired messages as well on how to go about solving issues. So Saturn to me is equally important because when you're with someone who's not very disciplined in a relationship, they don't have that respect or moral obligation to want to make the relationship work. you're going to be doing all the work. The relationship is going to be one-sided. The person's not going to take it serious. You know, one person may feel like they're being smothered, and one person may feel like they're pulling. So that's that unbalance, that pull, that push and pull, that push and pull. You ever seen those relationships where it feel like one person is more invested in the other? They may have opposing Saturn energies within their relationship. So you want to make sure that certain things like that are on point, so it cuts down on certain things in relationship, you know. So the last thing I want to get into is the vertex. Now, the vertex here is important because it's also known as our point of fate or karmic connection. Now, this is also an aspect I look at when I'm looking at charts, simply because when you're talking about points of fate, this is what's meant to happen. A lot of the time, the vertex can also represent karmic type of relationships. So wherever this vertex is within, say, your astrology chart, this is the area you want to look at where it may be your point of fate or any type of karmic connection. And my thing is, when we're talking about karmic connections, they were not just romantic. You can have a karmic relationship with your mother, your brother, your friend, your cousin. But wherever this energy is in your chart, make sure you pay attention to that. And make sure wherever this energy is in your partner's chart, make sure you pay attention to that as well, because that can be a good indicator of the type of relationships that are coming to you. And this can also be a point of also leading you to a future soulmate, more of a connection that you're looking forward to as well. So those are the planets, in my opinion, that are important in Synastry, because relationships, there are levels to relationships, and there's many different components to relationships. And when one of these things is lacking, you might as well say the whole relationship is fucked up. Again, just in my opinion. And this also, too, what I like to tell people, you know, because some people simply just rely on Synastry charts when dating. And I think I'm gonna put this out there. I feel like if you're dating, single, any male, female, a Synastry chart is important, because you can have a better understanding of the energies that you're dealing with, and if it would be a waste of your time or not. And y'all, I'm about to go ahead and charge my laptop because it's about to die. So hold on one moment. Whew. I feel like this always happens to me when I record. It's like I start with a full battery, then, you know, I guess I get to talking and it just disappear. Okay. So, yeah, family. So, in a relationship, you have many, many, many different aspects that make it important. And, you know, the type of person, to me, the astrology chart is just a representation of the energies that the person you're dealing with and what they're capable of giving you in a relationship and what they may not be capable of giving you in a relationship. And I did get sidetracked. And now what I was going to say was that some people fully rely on Synastry charts when dating, and I don't think you should. This should just be like a blueprint to energies that probably will not be the best for you, and energies that you probably would probably work better for you. So you want to kind of have an ideal of this before you go into any relationship to save yourself any further heartache and pain down the line. In my opinion, you should use common sense first. You should use morals first. If it doesn't feel right, don't engage into it. You know right from wrong. You know what you need and want in a relationship. Don't be so inclined to rely on outside sources before you rely on yourself. So that's the point that I did want to make about just Synastry charts in general. You know, take care of it practically first. Then you can go further and get Synastry charts and look at energetically, you know, how a person could be a match for you or how they can't be a match for you. Either way, I think Synastry charts are very useful, very important, because not only it gives you a look inside, you know, your partner's energy, it also, you can look at yourself as well and see how other energies interact with your energies as well. So that was it for my synastry video with the signs, not the signs, but the planets that are important. And I will see y'all in the next video, family.